It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 403. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
Hi.
Hi. I think my thing needs a new battery. There it goes. I'm very technologically savvy. There's a reason you sit behind the controls.
I mean, the worst day is whenever one of these things won't work and you just sit there and look at me. That is like,
Yeah.
oh.
You're like, what do you think about this? I'm like, what are you asking me for? I've been doing this for like 8 years. I've yet to press record. I don't know why you think I would know how to fix whatever problem you're having.
Well, I just need somebody to bounce ideas off of, and your silence in those moments is not helpful.
Okay, in the bouncing ideas department,
Here we go.
I came up with the name of the show. Isn't that enough? Haven't I done enough?
That was 8 years ago. It's time for something new.
We still use it.
We need a fresh idea for today.
We use it every week.
That we do.
So I feel like every week it's refreshed. I get credit again. That's how that works.
Wow. It's funny. You know, men are able to get away with that. Like you do something around the house and you're like, look, I did a thing.
Did a thing.
And then I will do 8 things and you'll go, uh-huh. And I don't sit there and list them all out individually. And you just go, uh-huh. And it's not just you. I've noticed this with all men. They demand...
How many men are you living with?
Lots of them. I've noticed that men will like coo about whatever they did. And they're like, praise me. But a woman does all the things and no one says a word.
Well, it's okay.
Just expected.
It's okay to coo now because you get pardoned.
Again, only if you're a man.
Yeah. No, I think he pardoned the women that did it too.
Yeah, well. Okay, I'm not even going down this. We could save that for the bonus.
Someone's mad and I'm like, that literally occurred.
Yeah, I am just not wasting my energy on it today.
So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people?
Well, we have an interview with Rebecca Rosales. She is also known, her leaderboard name is Bex on Deck. Fun woman to talk to. All, of course, Peloton history. We have a lot to get into there.
Yeah.
We also are going to be talking about kettlebells. Now, I know that that's not new, but Peloton already added a filter. I have things to say about that.
Okay.
We also have a lovely article that Naja wrote, Help Her Be Naja, and it's about my brother's keeper and how they took over Peloton. So we're going to talk about that. Not to mention, we have a fun article about menopause and the luxury market that has created. I really enjoyed reading this article. So
I am interested to hear about.
Yeah, I think you will be very interested.
Luxury hot flashes.
Hannah Corbin writing a book. We're going to get into that.
Okay.
We are going to touch on Emma Lovewell. She was at South by Southwest. There was a lot of things that came out of that, including a great article about baby-led weaning. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Susie Chan, Runner's World. Jermaine Johnson has his first 60-minute strength class coming up. We also are going to be talking about the latest artist series, and we have a ton of content to cover.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. If you want to support the show, we would love for you to support the show.
We would.
A way you can do that, well, you can share an episode in your feed to let people know that we exist, or an article if it interests you.
Yes.
We're always pumping out those. You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/theclipout. It's only $5 a month, and what you get for that is you get ad-free episodes, you get bonus content. We record an extra episode every week with just all the stuff we didn't have time to get to in the main episode. This week we're going to talk about a strength training study that you found.
Yes.
And about
Help Her Be Nikki found.
Okay, sorry.
I just have to give credit.
Well, you just complain I don't give you credit, and then I give you credit and you yell at me.
But I have to give credit to Nikki. That would be rude otherwise.
Okay, let me fix it. Okay, we'll fix this in post. Here we go. We're going to talk about an article about a strength training study that I found.
That's how a man fixes it. That tracks.
And there's also an interesting article about a woman that kind of revolutionized strength training.
Yeah.
women.
Super fascinating.
We'll also talk an article that one of the helper bees wrote about what instructors eat and all sorts of updates on Alex Toussaint, whatever Kendall is doing.
I have things to say about that.
Of course you do. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/theclipout, where you can watch all of these episodes. Sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com. Apparently this week it went out on Tuesday at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I wondered
and
about
I
that.
have no idea why.
I thought you had just forgotten, and then last minute was like, oh yeah, I'm just
I
gonna send that
scheduled
out.
it for like,
I wonder if the time change had something to do with that. Like you just hit the wrong button.
I don't
and then,
know
I don't
what
know.
occurred.
I don't either.
But it was done in a timely manner, and the MailChimp gods smote me.
They did.
So, what else am I supposed to push here?
Let's see,
Newsletter,
got the
YouTube.
website,
I got it all right.
Patreon. I think you did.
Okay,
yeah,
that's enough.
Yeah.
Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
Peloton has added a kettlebell filter.
Yes.
So I'm assuming what this means is that like you don't even have to do a kettlebell workout and you hit this filter and it'll just like put a kettlebell in your hand.
No.
Like you did a kettlebell workout.
No, that's not a thing. But what is a thing is that you can go to strength and then you can click on kettlebells as class type. It's nice because there are so many Peloton classes. I mean, there's just thousands and thousands of them. And,
Yes.
and as they keep adding modalities like kettlebells, it becomes hard to find them.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when they first added Pilates and bar, nobody could find them because they were under strength, and that was not obvious to people.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of those as strength workouts.
And they are from the standpoint of its body strength.
It's body weight workout.
exactly.
Like, I mean, I like when you say it like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But it would not. It is not.
It feels a little counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you're looking for something like mayonnaise and it's with the salad dressings and you're like, there's a whole aisle of salad dressings?
Yeah.
I didn't know because I don't eat a salad dressing.
Yeah, mayonnaise
So
is technically, and I know that because I worked at a grocery
I'm
store
just
for 10
saying
years. but-
things are weirdly categorized if you're not used to
but
using them.
I would deal with that question a lot.
I bet
People
you
are
would.
like, why can't I find the mayonnaise? They're expecting to see it next to like the ketchup and mustard. Yeah.
I mean, that makes more sense in my head.
Anything's a salad dressing if you're brave enough.
True. But back to this.
30 weight motor oil.
So anyway, I was surprised that when they added kettlebells, it got a filter so soon. Like that was almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, other things we've been asking for years still haven't been implemented.
My theory.
Oh, please tell me, because I don't know what the hell is going on over there lately.
If they want to add a filter, what's something that you think should have a filter that doesn't?
Well, I mean, on yoga classes, it took forever for them to add like slow flow yoga. They did eventually.
Okay. So they're 5 years into slow flow yoga and they're like,
Oh, it's a bunch of work to go
you know
back.
what we need? We need a slow flow filter. And they're like, son of a bitch.
Because that's a pain.
Now we got to comb through all these classes.
And they have to tag them all.
Tag them. Where kettlebells, they were like, you son of a bitch. Before you post that first class, you tag that thing as kettlebell. And
Yeah.
so like it's a finite number. I mean, there's a finite number the other way.
Of course.
But it's a larger finite number.
Right.
And so I think it's probably easier to go, we've only done 10 of these. Go slap a tag on them and we'll just do it moving forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now that does make sense.
Look at me.
But still,
I had an answer. I'm trying to coo.
The consistency is not there. Oh, I know. You're always cooing. The consistency is not there. And lately it has been really all over the place. For example, in our TCO top 5 that we'll get to later, there was a walk plus run class that you can't find if you just click on walking. It's not there.
Gotcha. Because there's running.
It should be tagged. But no, it should be tagged as under walk plus run. And if you go to the walk plus
I
run,
see.
it's not there. It's only under walking.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
all
that
the
makes
other
sense.
classes that are walk plus run are under walk plus run. So they clearly did not tag that correctly.
Yeah.
And, I know they had to make cuts and everything, but like the when you're a group of people like we have, watching every minute detail and reporting on it, it is just, it is glaring how many mistakes are happening daily.
Yeah.
It's not the best. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
So, at any rate.
So we had an article over at theclipout.com about my brother's keeper doing a takeover of PSNY.
Yeah, so if you are listening and you don't know what a takeover means, you can now purchase the studio. This used to be able to happen for free, but depending on where you are in the timeline of coming into Peloton, you may or may not know that.
Right.
But now you can go in, and you have to go in like at least 12 weeks in advance to the studio. You have to make a special request form, and you ask to take it over. And it costs a little bit more because it's kind of a concierge service that they're providing.
That makes sense.
And you can take over any of the studios, the bike studio, the tread studio, etc. But you have to get permission.
Do you get to pick your instructor when you do that?
I mean, they say you do, but you get like a first choice, second choice, third choice.
Gotcha.
So it's like not 100% guaranteed. Also, I'm going to pick on Peloton again. I know this sounds like I'm being really negative, but they are not first come, first serve with these. It is whoever they want to pick. So like, let's say that these gentlemen picked this on the same day that, I don't know, Sally up the street picked it for her group. They have to make a decision, and they're not necessarily picking whoever came first. They're picking who they want to choose.
Gotcha.
And sometimes I agree with those two choices,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm like, y'all can stick it somewhere. In this case,
we agree with this choice.
we do agree with this choice. Yeah, this is a great group, and I think it's really cool that they got to do this. Peloton, and it makes sense. Like, Peloton recently highlighted this group, and they did an article about it during, not an article, like a blog post, during Black History Month, and they highlighted the entire group. They did a whole commercial, a video. It was really cool. We talked about it at the time.
Okay.
But it's also cool that they kind of timed it pretty roughly with when these guys got to come in and take over the studio. So I get that that's probably one of the reasons that they made a choice.
And for people who aren't familiar, my brother's keeper.
Oh, sorry. Yes, my brother's keeper. So it's a group of black men that are, and women, I guess I should. I think this is they're in London. They're in a Hannah Frankson class. And they take a Jocelyn Thompson class. Like, they took over several classes. It was founded by Barry Ballard 6 years ago. And it says here that my brother's keeper was born out of a question that Barry asked himself, noticing a thriving group of black women Peloton users. Is there a similar group for black men? And when the answer was no, Ballard decided to create one himself. So it is all men.
Okay.
And then it says, fast forward to today, my brother's keeper is home to over 1,100 black men, fathers, college professionals, corporate executives, community and political leaders, entrepreneurs, and more who use Peloton not only to stay fit, but also to foster brotherhood and positivity. And I think that's really cool. There's several, I don't know if the group that he's talking about has been recently done a takeover of Peloton, but I know we've had several of their members on the show and lovely, lovely people. So I think it's really cool that Peloton is supporting the different groups. And that's the part that I agree with when they do that. It's just some people kind of have a lot of access to the studio, and they kind of use it to their advantage. But anyway, these guys, they went in and they did a whole bunch of different classes. So they did a class with Alex, they did a class with Christine, Adrian, and Dennis Morton, and they are united as a group in community and mission. It says here that at the heart of MBK is the understanding that shared experiences matter, whether it's celebrating milestones in your fitness journey, having tough conversations, or simply participating in a group ride. MBK has created a space that resonates far beyond Peloton as a brand. Isn't that nice?
Absolutely.
I love that. Huge group of guys got to go too. This was their first takeover. They have a picture in this article where they did their first takeover back in 2023.
Oh, okay.
So that's really cool. I love that. And I know they've been to London as well to do a takeover there.
So you came across an article that you found interesting. I was unable to read it.
That's, because you're not an Apple user.
Because it was behind an Apple paywall. I use a website that gets around that.
That one of our very savvy listeners sent to us.
But
it did not help in this case.
Apple got wise.
This is from News Plus. This is like the News Plus version. So I think that it's the same thing that gets me access to like Wall Street Journal. Right. So not everything works with that. But anyway.
But this was all about the menopause luxury market. So I am fascinated to hear how they're upscaling hot flashes.
Well, okay, so first of all, let's kind of back up. Why is this even an article? Part of the reason this is an article is because for years, I mean, if you were to talk to my mother, like my mother would be horrified to know how many times I talk about menopause on the show.
She still whispers it.
I know. She's like, the menopause.
Now, she wouldn't say that. She'd be like,
The change.
The change.
Yeah. And if she knew how open I was about mine, she would just be devastated. Mortified. I do a lot of things that mortify her, so not really shocking. But so it's been a big shift though, because one, women have been able to do a little bit more of their own research. Two, women doctors have finally gotten to the point where they're like, hey, hello, is anyone paying attention? Like Stacey Sims, who we had on the show.
And I also think the rise of social media has created a generation of people who aren't scared to talk about certain things publicly.
Yeah.
And so, and they have a medium in a way that they didn't before. Like before Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, like you either got a book deal or you wrote articles. But beyond that, if you didn't have an access to that pipeline, there was no way for a message to get out, where now you could just start a channel. And if it takes on a life of its own,
great.
Well, then you probably still get a book deal. But that's how you get it.
But it's also funny that like they are labeled as menopause influencers.
Yeah.
Like every niche has their label, which always cracks me up.
Yeah.
But, some of my favorites are Stacey Sim, Dr. Mary Claire Haver, and Molly Galbraith, most of which, Stacey Sims I found on my own, but the other two ladies, Nikki had shared with me whenever I started kind of going down these different rabbit holes. And, it's funny because a lot of these ladies know each other. You see them interacting in different spaces. But at any rate, part of it is they have been talking about it more. Part of it is that women advocate for themselves more. But it has really come to light in the last 5 to 10 years how little a doctor is actually taught about menopause.
Yeah.
It is frightening how little, like just hours, like literal, just a few hours they are spent being taught as a doctor about menopause. So when a woman goes to the doctor and says, this thing is happening to me, that doctor often has no idea how to do anything about it. So,
they're like, yep, that happens.
Exactly. Now, if it was a man, it would be a very different story. And it would be. And they have already come up with so many things to fix issues for men that they never even had issues with. Like if it's as a woman, if you have to get a coloscopy, or it's colposcopy, which is when you have precancerous cells or something that looks like it could be precancerous cells, they have to go into your uterus or go into your cervix, and they have to like do this scraping, and it's awful and it's painful. Okay. If a man has to go in, they get local anesthetic for anything they do. A woman, nothing. Just deal with it, lady.
Yeah.
Even though we're leaving bleeding, like we're literally bleeding, you're fine. That is like my whole issue with like men versus women on these topics. That is why so many more women are talking about it. Because come to find out, the weirdest shit is actually menopause symptoms. Like my shoulder issue, it's literally called frozen shoulder. It is known to be a menopause symptom. Here's another one, tinnitus. You know, the weird buzzing I get in my ears? Known to be a menopause symptom. Like, that's crazy. And if I told my doctor that, he would just be like, yeah.
Take out your earbuds.
Yeah, sounds like you need to eat better. That's probably what he would say. Anyway, so fast forward to the luxury market, because now all these companies are targeting two women who are going through hormonal shifts.
They finally figured out there's money in it.
So this whole article is about the fact that they'll have like retreats that are 10 days, $4,800 for a hormone balancing retreat. And do you need that? Like, that's the kind of thing, like some of these things are logical and they are helpful. And some of these things are like, you're just taking advantage. Right. That retreat always existed and you put a new title on it. And that's the point of this article.
The way weight loss became wellness.
Yeah, totally. And like they talk about like cooling pajamas, cooling sheets. Okay, that is real. And so sorry, article, but like it's a thing and you need to settle down. But also there are things that don't necessarily, there is no proven actual science behind it, like grounding pajamas. Yes, that's a thing. Yes, it's supposed to lower your stress level. I've read all about it. And half the people insist that it's a thing and half the people are like, what are you all nuts? And there's no science backing behind it. There's a lot of anecdotal reviews.
Right. But a lot of times that can just be a placebo effect. Like,
Exactly.
I bought this thing that I thought was going to do this, and so I think it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you have all these supplements that as a woman you can take. And I do take several of them based on Stacey Sims. But guess what? Not all of them are FDA regulated because they're supplements. And not all of them are tested in a third-party laboratory. So all of that, like, they're kind of touching on all of those issues in this particular article. But there are tons of things in here that are considered to be luxury that, they're going straight for the menopause market. Isn't that fascinating?
It is. Like, and it's funny that it took that long. It's not like this is a new occurrence.
And that's the thing. It's not. But like the generation before us, like I said, they weren't talking about it. And the generation before them, forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, if my grandma were alive today, she would not only be horrified, she would think I was the weakest POS ever for even just deal with it. That's just what you do. This is a woman who was raised on the farm in the middle of a depression, who like got up every morning to go milk cows and do whatever at 5 a.m. in the dark by herself. So like, I mean, on that level, I'm pretty weak, you know, but I will.
When we were watching the movie Marty, which came out, I think, in like 1954.
Okay.
Starring Ernest Borgnine. He's the butcher who's like, he's just a regular, like, this is the way the movie positions. He's a regular, like, ugly guy, and women don't like him. And then he meets
Does he live
this
with his
girl.
mom?
He lives with his mom.
Okay.
And it's actually a really good movie, and he won an Oscar for it. But his mother in the movie is like, she looks like a grandma.
She
like
does,
she's with the frumpy dress and the hair that you think of, like the same. Like, she looks like the granny character in Looney Tunes that's always fighting with Sylvester to save Tweety Bird.
Yes,
like, she looks like that.
Exactly.
And at one point they're talking about when she had him and how old he is, and we did the math, and she was like 42.
Yeah, like I'm literally 4 years older than her. And
we were like, wait, she's 42? I thought she was supposed to be like 75 years old.
Yeah. I mean, that's legit. That is legit. And so that is part of it. You know, people live longer nowadays, but also I think that it's people are just getting a lot less, I'll just deal with whatever comes my way, and a lot more like, but can't we do something about it?
Yeah.
There was also the big, a big thing that they did, the study that gave kind of misleading information about hormone therapy there for a while. And it was coming out that like, I am not going to say this in the perfect way. I'm not trying to be sciencey. Don't come after me if I get my facts wrong.
We are not doctors.
The general idea was that hormone replacement therapy would cause cancer.
Right.
And now they have like taken a closer look at that, and they've actually found, oh, that's not true. It's like if you do this part of it, it could cause that, but this part of it doesn't cause that. And so that's also a huge thing, because those misunderstandings are still being put out there.
Yeah, because lots of people are scared to even attempt stuff like that, because they're just like, I don't think I should mess with the chemicals, and I'm just gonna power through.
They don't like to give me the HRT, and they don't give me the HRT because I have migraines, which is a whole different thing that I didn't even realize was an issue.
Yeah.
But apparently that increases your risk of stroke, so they don't like to do that. I find the whole thing super fascinating, but like all of the things that you can take to help with your symptoms, I think can be vastly helpful. And speaking of menopause influencers, I think that it's safe to say Christine D'Ercole is one. She is representing MIDI, and she influenced me. I mean, I went to go check out MIDI because they were covered on my insurance, and they ended up giving me like a progesterone only birth control, which helped with a lot of my symptoms, and I'm sleeping better for the first time in years.
Hashtag not a commercial.
No.
There will be no promo code at the end of this.
None. No, this is just me saying that. And I think it's really great that there are women out there talking to each other and helping each other out, because there are men influencers who to this day get up there and will say something like, oh, you gained weight? Well, why don't you just eat less? Like, that's their answer. That's their answer. You're just not doing it right. Thanks. Thank you, middle-aged man who has no idea how my body works. Suck it. Yeah.
I didn't say it.
I know you didn't. I was talking to the guy, that Dr. Mary Claire Haversham. She will often post little clips like that and then tell
And
the
then
real.
take 'em down.
Yeah, and I love it.
Those
I love
are
it.
great.
She's awesome. So, okay, I got off my soapbox.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't have had coffee just before we talked about that.
You were worried about my energy drink.
I know.
I poured some into your coffee.
Well, I didn't know that you had that phone call before we got started. That kind of took a while. That gave me time for my
Time
coffee
for it to
kick
really
in.
kick in. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys. That was
Well-
more of a bonus topic.
Well, after this, we got instructors in the news. We're going to talk about Hannah Corbin writing a book and tell you what Emma Lovewell's been up to. So stick around.
Instructors in the news.
Hannah Corbin revealed that she is writing a book.
Yes, and she is saying that it is all about stretching,
Okay.
and it will be a fall release. And she announced this on her alt rock ride that took place on March 8th. So yes, it's true. Yes, it's happening. Yes, she said it. Because it's not in writing, so people often are like, "Are you sure?
Right.
Where did you hear this?" So I just
you're
wanted to give it
giving the source.
exactly.
Her mouth.
Yep.
Here's the ride.
Exactly. So they can go watch it themselves and like
If they
see the
don't
details.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Exciting for her.
Emma was featured on the website sheknows.com talking about baby-led weaning.
So are you
I don't-
curious what that is?
Well, I don't think baby should be having lead at all.
Okay, yeah,
this
that's
sounds
true. No.
remarkably dangerous,
Yeah,
Emma.
no
Why would
lead.
you do such a thing?
But if people don't know what that is, it is simply letting the child decide when they are ready to wean themselves.
Yeah.
Kind of like there's definitely a newer take on potty training that's very similar. Right.
How that's been 20 plus years ago, but
Sure
our
has.
pediatrician was very much like, why are you getting in a fight over this? Like, you ever seen an adult that can't control when they go to the bathroom? And I was like, well, my grandma. And they're like, okay, but she had it figured out at one point. Yeah. Fair enough. But that's what we did with the kids. And it did take a while, but I will also say we had no battles. Like, it was just like one day a switch flipped and they got it and they were done. No accidents.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, when Emma was at South by Southwest, she was in the She Media collab, and she talked about the fact that with her husband, they were in the process of going through this baby-led weaning with their daughter. And that means around 4 to 6 months, as the child is ready for solid foods, you kind of let them eat what they're ready to eat and try them, and then get back to the breastfeeding if that's what they're looking for. It kind of helps them like have a little more autonomy about when they're ready to have what kind of solid foods.
Got like a foot in both worlds.
And Emma's quote on this was that her thought on the whole process is she's trying to give her nutritious vegetables first, because we know that kids don't like their vegetables. And though she might have high hopes for this process, she also has a refreshing take. She could end up being the pickiest eater, but I'm just dealing what I have.
Oh man, if my mom tried to give me vegetables first, I would still be breastfeeding.
I know, right? Which would be really awkward for all kinds of reasons.
Well, yeah, because she's not alive.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be problematic.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's dark.
But yeah, like I was just like, oh my God, I don't think I would. But maybe that gets them over the hump.
It might.
You know what I mean? That it's
It
like,
might, because
this is
if
just
that-
what food is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they do think that the texture issues, if you truly have the, because you haven't been diagnosed, but if you have the food disorder that we think you have, ARFID, that's the one.
There we go.
It often is caused, they don't know what causes it, but what they do know is it's texture related. So in theory, if you just start with all kinds of foods and it's not ever an option to not have those kinds of foods,
You don't know
maybe
any
you're more open.
Well, I will say I've always said there are weird foods that you would think I wouldn't like that I do.
It's true.
Like Braunschweiger.
Yes.
That
is a weird one.
That's disgusting. I know it's disgusting,
Yep.
but for some reason it got in under the wire, and I'm like, oh, that's okay. I like it. I don't know. I don't understand it either.
Well, the article, they're very, they love how laid back Emma is. So I just thought that was kind of a fun article, something you don't hear a lot about.
For sure. While she was at South by Southwest.
At the She Media.
At the She
same
Media.
place she was for the other one.
Okay.
It's okay.
Now who's cooing?
Cool.
I pardon thee. She did a live core class there.
She did. She taught a 30-minute core-focused Peloton workout to launch the first day of South by Southwest. So that's fun. What a great way to start off the show.
For sure. Susie Chan was featured in Runner's World. Now, is it just me? Do we do this story like once a month? Is she in every issue of Runner?
Every single one. Every single one.
I feel like we said this quite a few times.
We
do.
Great. I mean, she's been covered for different things.
Yeah.
So that's fair. But she was listed specifically under 50 running game changers. She was listed under that. And I think that's really cool.
For sure.
And she is a freaking badass. Like, she deserves
absolutely.
it. She deserves to be in every damn issue, Tom. Just leave Susie alone.
Of every magazine.
Every magazine.
Yes.
All of them.
Cat Fancy.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, she likes dogs more, but I bet she,
Good for her.
She probably has a little love for cats.
Now, in her defense, dogs are better.
Congrats to Susie.
Jermaine Johnson has his first ever 60-minute strength class.
Yeah, a great reminder that Peloton is starting to add more and more long-form content, which people have been asking for. So this class will take place on March 18th at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and you'll be able to take it live if you would like. So how cool is that?
Absolutely. I know people have been wanting the long stuff for a long time, and I wasn't even trying to make that dirty, and then you giggled at it, and then I get, he's so filthy.
I have never said that about you. I have never said.
People like the long stuff. Now they need to add some girth classes.
Okie dokie.
Peloton artist collaborations.
The latest artist series features Sabrina the Teenage Carpenter.
Yes, she goes around fixing houses.
Yes.
While she sings.
Only until she's 20.
So we had talked about kind of March overview of several different
The upcoming artist series.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they were all women because it's Women Histories Month. I said histories.
What about men, honey? When do we get our month?
Every goddamn day.
For March, apparently.
This is not smart while I am in perimenopause, Tom.
God, you've been milking that one for a while.
It takes 10 years to go through perimenopause, so buckle up, Buttercup.
I feel like it's been 11.
Okay, that's enough.
Sabrina the Teenage Carpenter.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these classes. In fact, there are 10 new classes that are going to be coming out, and that's going to be across a whole bunch of different stuff. There's going to be outdoor runs, cool down rides, Pilates. There's going to be low impact cardio, and there will also be power flow and walk plus run and a row and another ride. So all kinds of stuff. How fun is that?
It is 6. It is 6 fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So recently, Lil Jon, gotta say it like that.
Okay, Lil Jon.
Lil Jon.
I think you held a little hard on the Lil.
Well, I don't want to say Little John, because then I sound like I'm a million years old.
No, you can just a little quicker, Lil.
Lil Jon.
So, like, you're just a little too much emphasis. Just back off a little bit.
Lil.
There you go, Lil Jon.
Lil Jon.
Okay, too hard, but okay.
I have the same struggle with salt and pepper.
Yes, I know, and we have talked
Salt
about it.
Salt and pepper.
We have talked about it literally every time there is any person with an apostrophe in their name. Like we've covered
difficult because I have an apostrophe in my name.
So you're like,
and
okay,
now, thanks to me, so do you.
It's true.
But Lil Jon was so popular when he was in studio. People had so much fun.
They did.
And he will be returning.
He will. And this time he's going to be on the tread. He did a live class last time on the bike with Alex Toussaint. And he took to his socials today and he was like...
He's very excited.
He was very excited.
I had the sound down and I could tell how excited he was.
I mean, the dude seems to really love exercise. And he also really loves like doing these classes. And it's so refreshing.
This. Like, it would be so easy for someone like... because the image of like rappers is like got to be tough and like it's kind of like metal guys, right?
Exactly.
And so like I love the fact of like how into this he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just nerding out over it,
yes.
and I totally dig it.
Yeah, and people are really excited that are going to be taking the classes too, because they have reflected and said things like that they got a PR on that ride and they hadn't had a PR in forever, and that like Lil Jon apparently went hard on the, like he was not holding back, and he clearly was somebody who does this a lot because he has a lot of athleticism when he's riding the bike, and he wasn't just like standing up on the pedals and yelling fun stuff, like he was writing. And so people really loved that, and they also loved that it wasn't like all him and it wasn't all Alex. It was both of their personalities combined, which is nice.
You know, it's funny that it's with Alex, because what it reminds me of is when Alex Toussaint does the NBA celebrity game. Like he's like he is like you would think that this was like for all the points in the world, like, that like he is going to make, if he makes whatever basket, it's like he wins $50 million and he brings home the trophy for everybody. Like he is playing that game like he is in the NBA.
And maybe like, that's why they connect, you know, they both, everything they do,
bring that level of intensity.
Yeah, maybe that's why. That's great.
After this, we're going to talk about all the different content that's out there for you. So you're going to get the TCO Top 5 this week at Peloton, the radar, all the things. So stick around.
New content.
It is time for the TCO Top 5. You tell us classes, and then we also tell the classes.
Sure. We didn't talk about Tina at the top of the show, and Tina and Mason. I just wanted to give an update that we crossed over $13,000 raised this week. Thank you to everyone for your donations. Please keep sharing on social media. And I also wanted to say that that Mason had to do another treatment this week, and they had to go early to do some tests. So this week, Helper B. Chris stepped up to do TCO Top 5.
For people who are unaware, Tina normally writes the TCO Top 5. She needed a moment this week, and so Chris stepped in.
Yeah, which is awesome.
My Secret Santa. Or I was his Secret Santa.
That's true.
Twice.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. I was like, I don't think the shuffle button's working.
Worked for everybody else.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, number 1, your favorite ride.
Okay, so we're going back in the vault. So Christina Ribeiro wanted to remind everyone that the Greatest Showman ride is still on the platform. And she wonders even if this is the oldest ride left on the platform, because it was originally aired on November 16th of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah. So it could be the only one left that's that old. I don't know. I don't know that for a fact. And Christina said that she, you know, it's an amazing, it is. Like I have taken this on multiple occasions. It is one of the best classes ever. And it features tracks from, of course, the Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. So
well, maybe we'll get a refresh when it hits Broadway.
That'd be cool. Yeah. That'd be very cool.
Number 2, your favorite strength class.
So this class was taught by Katie Wong, and it was from March 5th of 25. And Jennifer Kern, I call her Jen Kern, she recommended it. She said, this class is a real burner. And Chris wanted to see why. So we looked into it. There were several sets of push-ups, wide grip chest presses, overhead, and push presses. Eek.
No, thank you. Number 3, your favorite walk run.
Okay, so
but you can't find it.
Couldn't. It's under walking. If you guys are looking for it, it's just walking. So it's the Kesha Walk Plus Run that Jess King taught.
But it's Kesha. That was my Janelle impersonation.
But it's Kesha.
From Teen Mom.
We talked about this last week.
Okay, let's talk about this. This is what I do to torture Crystal whenever we're going to watch a Teen Mom. I'm like, because when we're trying to figure out what shows we want to watch, it's always like, you know, like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to think of a show now and I'm blanking. Oh, you want to do a Love After Lockup? So I'm always like, hey, you want to do a Teen Mom?
Always like, Tom.
We're going to watch a Teen Mom. No, let's you want to do a Teen Mom?
And as you pointed out the other day, they're 30 now.
They're 30.
So,
they're in their 30s.
Just saying, it's not quite as weird as it sounds. It's still pretty weird.
Teen Grandmom?
Anyway, Danette Royal Giles recommended this class, and she said the playlist was terrific and the intervals kept her moving. And this class features, of course, alternating walk and run intervals that get progressively longer through the class. So There you go.
Okay. Number 4, your favorite cycling class.
Okay, so this Robin is appearing twice.
I was like, how is this different than a ride?
Well, I don't know. It just is. Shush.
You're like, it's Chris's first time.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Back off. Gosh.
He's like, why don't you do one, you lazy bastard? Just sit down and make jokes about everything.
You tell him, Chris.
I'm over here writing this stuff up.
Tell him, Chris. Okay, so this class was taught on June 28th of 2024, taught by Robin. It was a 30-minute pop ride, and Ben Smith recommended this class. He said that he loved the music throughout. Real divas, and little did Robin know how massive Sabrina Carpenter was going to be with Espresso and Please, Please, Please. So Peloton members have taken this class over 70,000 times.
Yikes.
So... Of course, she is in our artist series classes this week.
I swear to God, if the Unstackable's a ride.
It's not going to be an Unstackable this week. We're flipping the script.
It's just, he's just gone mad with power.
I know. You give him an article to write and he rewrites everything.
And not only is it not an Unstackable, sweet baby snow peas, it's a stack. Like, this guy's just like issuing executive orders.
I thought it was pretty clever, actually. It was the favorite stack of the week, and Marie Mayette, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Mayette? We're going to say Mayette.
Okay.
Well, she was at the New York studio last week, and she took 3 classes while she was there, but one of them was this back-to-back row classes. So whenever you get 20-minute stack in the studio, you get like a short break between, they reset, and then so you get 2 for 1, which is nice. And so she took both of those classes. So, and I like how Chris added that accomplishment deserves its own badge. It was a 20-minute endurance row and a 20-minute rock row, both taught on March 7th.
We will now turn our eyes to this week at Peloton. We have Peloton sleep classes. I feel like I know how to sleep.
Well, this Friday is World Sleep Day. And Peloton wanted to celebrate that with these sleep meditations. So there's a 10-minute sleep meditation with Chelsea, a 15-minute sleep meditation with Anna, and a 20-minute sleep meditation with Aditi, all of which will be on demand on the 14th at midnight.
I am so glad. So glad that Peloton is finally offering something to all the people who complain about how woke they are. Here's some sleep classes for you.
It was International Women's Day this week, and it is no longer recognized on Apple or Google. But a lot of companies that send me emails were still celebrating.
Yeah,
so
because they were already scheduled. Let's see what it looks like next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we have Holy Pilates?
I think that's how you pronounce it. It's called the Festival of Colors.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I don't want to say it incorrectly. I don't want to be rude.
And it was funny. My first, as my eye, like humans are trained for pattern recognition. Like,
right.
It's just the way I thought it said hoi polloi. And I was like, what is that? And I'm like, it doesn't say that at all.
Look again, Tom. Yeah. Well, there's going to be a Festival of Colors Pilates class that Aditi is teaching, and this will be on demand on March 14th as well.
Alex is back with his Club Bangers Ride. People love those.
Yeah, they do. And March 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern, there is going to be a live one.
We have a strength and stretch for you.
Strengthen and stretch. And the only reason I point that out is that's a new combo that they're doing. So it's going to be a 15-minute full body stretch class with Andy, and then it's going to be, you can then pair that well with a total strength 60 that happens every Sunday as well. This class is already on demand, though, so you can take it anytime.
We'll now take a look at the TCO radar, what we're keeping an eye on. Decide if it might be in the TCO top 5 next week, but please, no betting. We got new dance cardio.
We do. It's actually 4 different classes. There's one with Emma, Jess King, Hannah, and 2 with Emma. My bad. 2 with Emma, 1 with Jess King, and 1 with Hannah Corbin.
We have the aforementioned Women's History Month, and they have class highlights for you.
Yes. Okay, so there's several of them. On 310, there was the live 30-minute hip-hop heroines run with Kirsten, the Encore 2024 30-minute Joan Jett run with Jess King, and then there were the on-demand and Encore 30-minute vocal legend ride with Christine, and then a live 30-minute hip-hop yoga flow with Kira, and a live 45 minutes of Queen's pop full body strength with Asal.
Callie Gullickson is back live at PSNY.
She is. She's going to be there on March 21st and 22nd teaching 2 strength classes. So remember, her current schedule is to come in for a week a month and then be out for the rest of that time.
And then Hannah Frankson will be back in March as well.
Well, no, this is saying that she's going to be teaching in the New York studio.
Oh, I see.
That's the point of this. And so she will be in New York. Hannah is usually teaching in the London studio.
Gotcha.
She's coming over to the PSNY, and she's teaching on March 24th in class. And so that's exciting.
And then Susie is getting ready for her first ever 2-hour Peloton run.
Live run on March 23rd.
Clearly, Susie Chan has ran for more than 2 hours, but previously
Hundreds
in her life.
of hours longer than that. Yes.
Like literally.
Yes. I was not at all being facetious.
Yeah.
There's also another 2-for-1 ride coming up. This is an interesting pairing.
Yeah.
And everybody is just kind of like, wouldn't have seen that together. Cody and Tunde doing the Lady Gaga artist series.
Okay.
Not like against it. It's just interesting. You know, I haven't seen that pairing before.
For sure.
And they will be up on Thursday, March 27th.
Anna Greenberg has a new meditation program.
She does. It is for 7 days, and it is all about 7 days to focus your mind. And it did drop on March 7th of 2025.
And Christine Derrickle revealed this week that she is working on an unofficial sprint interval training class.
Program. And the reason that that's important is she already has several classes, and so she's going to put together a program. Now, she's going to be out for a while. This is one of her, I think this is her 12 weeks that she has coming up. And so when she's off for those weeks, she is going to be posting it so that she can help you know how to put together an actual program. So we wanted to let you know this. The post has not come up yet. Now it's Wednesday today, so it could be up by the time you hear this.
Right.
But we're watching for it. And when we see it, we will be posting about it so that you are able to find it not only on Christine's channel, but find it over on the Clip Out as well.
In case you missed it.
We also have more spring apparel for people. Well, we don't, but Peloton does.
This is all Lululemon. So this one is different because the other 2 that have dropped have been all Peloton branded.
I see.
So this is the Lulu Peloton collab. And they dropped a whole bunch of different springtime apparel. So that all dropped this week, and there's still a sale going on. So people are excited about that.
Peloton birthdays.
And we have 4 birthdays this week.
Is March the new August?
I know, or 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
So first is Sam Yo on March 12th.
Happy birthday, Sam Yo.
And then on March 17th, we have Marcel Dinkins.
Happy birthday, Marcel Dinkins.
And then we have our half,
okay,
which is Peloton.
Oh, right. Is that the day they incorporated?
That's the anniversary of the day they officially incorporated.
Well, happy birthday, Peloton.
I always consider this. I know that they existed prior to that, but
that's a pretty big deal.
But they incorporated on this day.
But you said 3.5. So who's the third?
Well,
who's the next one?
Oh, the next one on March 18th is Jeffrey McEachern.
Well, happy birthday, Jeffrey McEachern.
Happy birthday to all of you.
Yes, happy birthday.
And coming up after this, we have our interview of the week with Rebecca Rosales. So stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Rebecca Rosales. Hey, Rebecca, how's it going?
Hi, it's going really well. How are you?
Good. We're so happy to have you here today. I like to start these conversations by understanding your history with Peloton. So when in your fitness journey did Peloton come into the picture and you thought, oh, this will be a great match for me?
Yeah, so I was never really into fitness or anything. You couldn't pay me to run a mile in college or anything. So in 2019, my husband found Peloton and he said, why don't we buy a bike? And I said, okay. So he bought it. He used it and I never really got on it or anything until 2020. COVID hit. We were just hanging out at home and I was like, well, let's see what this is all about. My first ride was with Cody and I fell in love and I've been a huge fan ever since.
So with Cody or the bike?
Well, both, honestly, but yeah.
Well, that's a fascinating origin story.
It is.
More often than not, we found it's it's the wife that brings home the bike and the husband that it's touch and goes whether or not the husband gets on board. But like normally that initial purchase is driven by the female. In the
and even if the husband buys it, it's like for the wife. Like that's usually the typical story. So it's always fascinating to hear like when people enter in a different way, or like when we run across a person who had never used the bike and they started on the treadmill. I find that fascinating too. So you said,
yes, well, that's my current fight. Oh.
It's your current fight. What does that mean?
To get the treadmill. My current fight right now with my husband is for him to buy me a treadmill, and I'm not winning that fight, but we'll see.
Good luck. Are you going for the tread or the tread plus?
I mean, the tread would be good to start out with.
You're like, I'm open to negotiation.
So you got to go for the tread plus.
So then when you settle on the tread,
and then you land on the tread, and you can be like, I saved you $2,000.
Then you save $2,000. That is my kind of math right there.
I know. I know. Except we have a tread plus.
In my defense, they didn't have a tread back then.
Yeah.
That's true.
Also, I'm sure they'll have a sale coming up here pretty soon for Mother's Day, if not before then. So it could be a really good time,
That's true. Yeah.
So if you were never really all that focused on fitness, then what made you cave during COVID?
I mean, there was nothing else to do. There was, we finished watching Tiger King and all those shows that came out, and now it's like, now what? So I would just jump on the bike and get a good workout in. And then I was doing outdoor walks just to get out and get fresh air. And so I, was able to use the outdoor part of it. Just really, really enjoyed it.
So does that mean that a lot of your first impressions of the instructors were during their
like at home?
They were
workouts?
At home. They're doing their classes at home. Was that kind of your first impression of them?
So I would take some of the studio ones that were previously recorded, and then once they started doing them at home, then that's really, when I started getting into it, which is a completely different experience than it is now.
Absolutely. It definitely is. And and I'm curious about your husband. Did he keep up his love of Peloton that entire time? Has it ebbed and flowed? Tell us about that.
It's ebbed and flowed. He is military, he's in the Navy. So he's not always around, he's on deployment, different things. So he doesn't use it as much. It's hard for him to get into a good routine with working out, but he still uses it, just not as much.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would have to be very disruptive to any kind of routine. Your routine, everybody's routine.
Yes.
So are you concerned about having big pieces of equipment like that? If you have to move, are you in a role where you have to move a lot?
We do. Yeah. We move every 2 to 3 years. The bike has started with us in New York. It's gone all the way to Hawaii. Ooh. And now we are currently in Maryland. So it's traveled well. That's one of the reasons he's not so sure about the treadmill right now. But we do live in an apartment, and I'm able to use the treadmills in the gym. So that's really nice.
That's good. Yeah, that's great.
And if you're in an apartment, like a bike has a much smaller footprint than a treadmill, especially a tread plus.
Yeah.
That thing's a behemoth.
It's a behemoth. It really is. I love it, but yeah.
It's like parking a car.
It's literally 450 pounds. Like it's you got to commit if you're going to get that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. That does not fit with the Navy lifestyle at all. Like no. But I'm really glad to hear that the bike was able to go with you to the different deployments. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be deployments. Never mind.
We don't know military speak.
I you live in a different place, but he goes on deployments. You don't. So I was like, wait, I think I said that wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, but I use it a lot during deployments because it's nice to have that connection with something, when it's just me at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that gets really lonely, especially if you're moving every couple of years. You don't really necessarily have a chance to connect with the people around you, especially in the middle when it was in the middle of COVID. Maybe more now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
So since you started working out with the bike, have you noticed any changes in yourself? Like, can you walk upstairs better or, things like that?
Yeah. So the bike really got me, enjoying working out. And when I was in Hawaii, a coworker of mine asked me if I wanted to sign up for a run. And she just said, "Oh, let's sign up for the Great Aloha Run."
Oh.
I said, "Okay, great." Because I have FOMO and I tend to say yes to things before I actually look into what it is. So I decided to Google how far is the Great Aloha Run, and it's 8 miles. So I quickly began my running training. And again, Peloton came in handy with that. I would have never done the actual run had it not been for Peloton. And I found little tricks and things to do to get me running longer. I don't enjoy doing like a 45-minute run just in one class. So I will do 2 20-minute runs or, a couple 10-minute runs just to switch up the instructor and the music and different things. And that's definitely motivated me to continue with running.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it. So the stacks of classes kind of keep you going because it feels fresh every so often.
Yes, absolutely.
What an amazing place to train, though.
I know, right? We were
my God.
just in Hawaii over the summer.
And it's so gorgeous there. What island did you live on, if I may ask?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were on Oahu.
Okay. They're all beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
We
but
went to like all the, what did we do?
the major ones. Yeah.
5?
So, yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did the big island and then Oahu, like the one that has all the tourists. We went there. And then we went to Oahu and
Yeah.
Maui.
Maui and Kauai.
Yeah.
So we did 4 different
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because we did the Hilo side and the Kona
Oh,
side.
that's right.
And so it felt like 5,
Yeah.
but it was 5 stops. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it's very different from one side of the island to the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely is. And I feel like that had to have been a difficult adjustment to go from Hawaii to Maryland. Like, I mean, wow.
Yeah, and it was in February, so
Oh,
it was a little cold. But
God.
yeah. So we've been here for about a year. We've adjusted, and it's going well.
well, that's good. I'm glad
It's like,
going
well, it's not as pretty, but a gallon of milk isn't $17.50.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
You take what you can get sometimes.
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, I'm not great at geography, but I know that Maryland is, East Coast in the upper region. So how close is it for you to go to the studio? Is that even a possibility, or is that like a plane ride still?
No, it's not. So it's a train. They have a train from BWI that goes to New York City. So you just hop on the train and you don't have to deal with traffic or anything. Just go. And yeah, so I've gone a few times. I actually, when we lived in Hawaii, I came out because my family lives in Pennsylvania. And immediately I was like, we need to sign up for a class. And so me and my sister went out. And my first ride was a country ride with Hannah Corbin. And then when we moved out here, I was like, well, we're on the East Coast. I don't know when this will happen again. So I've gone twice since we've been here, once with my husband and once with my sister.
Well, that's great. I'm so glad to hear that.
So did you get to do a Cody class since he was your favorite, it sounds like?
Well, it was her first. I don't know if it's her favorite.
Oh, sorry.
I did. Yeah, well, so I have a favorite for each modality. I have a favorite. He is definitely my bike favorite. But yes, I did. I went with my husband. He actually got into a Cody class, and I was on the standby wait list and did not get in.
Oh.
But then just, I don't know, a couple months ago, I was able to get in and finally get my Cody ride.
That's awesome. It's hard to get 2 people into the same ride. That's for sure.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's great, Tom. Just stay out of my classes.
So who are your preferred?
Exactly. More for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. So who are your preferred instructors in the other modalities?
Yeah. So for running, I actually really enjoy Camila. She's always so fresh and fun. So she's my favorite to run with. For walks, I really like Jess King or Jess Sims. Both of them are so motivational during the walks. And then I recently got into golf when I was living in Hawaii.
Makes sense.
I really enjoy Selena's, her strength for golfers class is amazing. So, and then Cody on the bike. So.
Okay.
Did she improve your drive?
My drive needs a lot of help, but she did improve it. Yes.
Because I would think
Yeah, do the
if you're
strength and-
getting muscles, you're gonna hit it harder. I'm not a sports guy, so
I'm just like a part of it though, and this is me. I'm picturing myself trying to golf, and I'm like terrible at it, and so I'm picturing like, oh yeah, I can swing. That's great, but you have to actually connect with the ball.
Yes.
I'm not so good at that.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of times I swing and I miss, and it's just a practice swing then.
Yeah, I went golfing once in my life, and that's when I learned. I don't know if you know this, John. There's a maximum number of strokes per hole.
You found that
where
out,
they'll
did
just
you?
be like, "That's enough for you. Move on."
That would be me.
Yeah.
I'm sure I would do
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yep.
I'm glad though. Do you golf currently? Like, are there places nearby that you enjoy going to, or is it like, oh, it's cold outside, so
or a
no?
big giant letdown.
Yeah.
Because you started
started
golfing in Hawaii.
Yeah, I will say it was a little bit of a letdown. Not everywhere is as beautiful to golf, but we've kept it up a little bit. So we definitely were able to do it when we moved out here a year ago. We golfed over the summer, and then just up until I think like the end of October, I was like, all right, I'm good. I prefer warm weather golf rather than cold.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you also do running. So are you currently training for anything? You said you did the Great Aloha race. Are there any other races in your future?
Yeah, so I found the best way for me to keep up with running is to keep signing up for races. So I actually did the Disney Wine and Dine half marathon in November.
Fun.
I think I'm one and done on half marathons and never for a marathon. So check that off. I am currently training for the Cherry Blossom 10 miler.
Ooh, fun. That's great. And, never say never.
It's coming up. So
You just never know what somebody's going to wrangle you into.
that's true. That is true.
Plus, the longer you do it, like all of a sudden you do a few 8 or 10 mile ones. All of a sudden, that's not so difficult anymore.
Yeah.
And then a half one isn't so hard. And the next thing you know.
Yeah. I mean, that truly does happen. I know it's hard to imagine, but it really does, because the more consistent you are with your running, the more that your body gets used to doing those miles. Like, it's muscle memory. And so it's not as hard to train for your next one. I totally get it, though. No pressure from me. I am a one and done marathon gal. So like, I hear you. But if you find that happening, you also don't have to fight it if you don't want to, because it is normal for that to occur.
Yeah. I think I just got training fatigue around, I don't know, week 9 or 10 out of the 12 week program.
Yep.
I was ready just to run the race and be done with the training part. So
that's very
we'll
normal.
see.
That's very,
I
very.
guess I can't never say never, but yeah.
That's very, very normal.
I know when Crystal was training for her marathon, I got training fatigue.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He was like, okay, enough already.
And even less pressure for me, because I'm none and done.
Yeah.
I'm just done.
Well, it's just, I'm like super slow. I'm like super slow. So when I say slow, like 15 minutes a mile for marathon pace, like that would be quick for me. So when you're doing a marathon at that pace, you're looking at like, it ended up being 16 minutes a mile. So it was like 7 hours, and you're out there a long time. So when you have to do those long training runs, it was like I was real crabby towards the end. That's why he's saying that, because I was just so ready to freaking be done. It's like, why do people do this? This is terrible.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
So what is your leaderboard name?
So it is Bex_on_deck.
And how did you come up with that?
BECKS.
Is that a Navy joke?
So, no.
She's like, I never
So I
thought
usually
about
go
it.
by Rebecca. That's true. But friends of ours in New York, they used to call me Bex. And so that's just what they would call me. And then, I don't know, one day they talked about this beer, I guess, called Bex. Used to have a commercial.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
would say Bex on the deck. And so that's where it grew from. So they would just always call me Bex on deck. And I was like, wow, that's fitting. So I just put it as my leaderboard name, and that's what it is.
That's awesome.
It's catchy.
It is
I know it's
catchy.
very hard to get shout outs these days, but like that seems like one that instructors might gravitate towards. 'Cause
It does.
It's fun to say.
Yeah, hopefully.
So do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
I do. So I have two pieces of advice. One of them is my husband's life motto, which is try everything twice, because sometimes you have a bad experience the first time, and you don't want to let it ruin it for you. So as far as Peloton, try each instructor twice. Maybe the first time the music didn't hit well, or, they didn't have the motivational thing you were looking for. But the second time you realize you really enjoy taking their classes. So that's the first piece of advice, is try everything twice. And then secondly, I am a firm believer that a cute matching workout set changes the game. So buy the cute outfit, put it on, and I think that'll be the motivation you need.
Back in the day when I first started Peloton, all the OGs had a saying that they called them magic pants, and they would get their cutest workout gear and call them magic pants because they always helped them get a PR. And I've always thought of that, and I love it. And I mean, it always cheers me up when you put on a great outfit. Like, it's fun, and it's usually colorful for me. That's part of what makes it fun for me. So I think that's a great piece of advice. Both of those are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you in all the places if you would like to be found.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mainly use Instagram. It again is Bex on deck, but it's Bex _on_deck. And then Facebook is just Rebecca Rosales, and that's all I've got.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The Clip Out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/CrystalDOKeefe. They can find me on Threads and what's the other one?
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky. And of course, the Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Threads and Blue Sky at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon, where for $5 a month, you get all sorts of bonus content. You get ad-free episodes, and we like you a little extra. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
And running.
and rowing.
Bye.
Clip in, set yourself free.